to start with the question, so this is a question that I was asked this morning in LinkedIn by Kath, who wanted to know how we come up with, how we recommend that you come up with blog post topics. And this is something I'm just trying to get out of this Facebook window here, which it won't let me. Why would anything go right? This is something we talk about extensively in our SEO content marketing course, because there are two reasons that you would blog. One is because you want something that somebody who finds your website through another means can read. So for instance, if you want to demonstrate a depth of expertise, somebody might find your website one way and they might navigate to your blog posts and see that you have interesting content and interesting things to say. Alternatively, you might blog because you want to be found by Google. So if you want to be found by Google for writing a blog post, things have changed considerably if you've been around the internet a long time. So going back to the early to mid 2000s, the advice was, if you blog, Google will find it. Google loves fresh content on a website. Google will rank you because you have blog posts. And that led to people writing a lot of blog posts that were more like opinion pieces and columns and things that they thought and advice that they had to give. And that content can be fantastic. But these days, if you want to be found by SEO, you've got to be answering the questions that people are asking, and you've got to be answering them better than the alternatives. So what I wanted to offer in answer to Kath's question was this fantastic website, which is called Answer the Public. So you can find it at answerthepublic.com, and you get, if you can have a free go at it, so you don't have to have a subscription, but you can ask a simple question. My advice would be, I mean, you can see this is set to the UK, but you can set it to, any one of a number of countries. It will set it to Australia because that's where we are. So you want to ask a question at the top level. So you don't want to get down too deeply into, for instance, they put, chocolate in there. So you don't want to get down into the depth of going, how do I make chocolate cool down faster in order to make an icing? Because, that's very narrow. So you start at chocolate because you'll see. So if I type copywriting in here and hit search, what Answer the Public is now doing is going out and essentially scraping Google. And I won't, when you type something into Google and things start dropping down to complete what you're writing, this is what Answer the Public is doing. And then it's sorting those answers out. So it's looking at, what are the questions that begin with what? What are the questions that begin with when? This is a phenomenal way to find things that people are asking, because Google has an incredible data set on what people want to know, because Google has millions of people every day asking questions. And so Google knows all the questions that all the people are asking, and it's very clever at sorting those out for you. So you can probably find a dozen blog post topics immediately by starting, in my opinion, with Answer the Public, if you start with the right top level questions. So don't go too deep, because you can see Answer the Public is going deep for you. How much to charge for copywriting, how to get started copywriting, how do copywriters make money, where to practice copywriting. You should also take a moment to infer things from those answers. So for instance, from a lot of those questions, you can infer that these are questions being asked by people who want to be a copywriter, not people who want to employ a copywriter. So you also have to ask yourself, is that the sort of question that my ideal client would ask? And if it is the sort of question that your ideal client would ask, then you've got a potential blog post topic there. If it's a small question, one that you can answer quite quickly, you might think to bring a few of these questions together into a single post. So there are lots of ways to find topics to rank for SEO, in terms of finding topics that your audience might find interesting, that you might want to put on your blog, share on LinkedIn, share on Facebook, then you can be thinking about questions like the questions that people ask you when they're talking to you. Those generally make great blog posts because they are obviously the things that people want to know. Also, I like to think about if it's not for SEO, this is a great question to ask yourself. What do people think they know about my business, but they're wrong about? Because that's often interesting when you present somebody with some content, with an article that says, hey, here's a myth busted. Here's a thing that you thought that you can, you're actually wrong about. That's quite a grabbing and compelling hook. It's useless for SEO because if it's something I should know but I don't know, I'm certainly not searching for it. But it is something that makes great social media posts and a great post for your website. So that's answerthepublic.com, which is a great way to start. There are a lot of ways that we talk about in the SEO content marketing course that we run at Taylist. The next one's coming up later this month. That go through free tools like Answer the Public that you can use to find those topics, and then paid tools that you can use to drill deeper and find even more topics, and also ways that you can validate for sure whether a topic that you're thinking about writing is A, something that you can rank for, and B, something that you can, the people are asking, and something that you have a chance of showing up in Google for. So that was a question from Kath that she asked on LinkedIn this morning.